to be a stable person most of the time, except when it comes to my favorite Dream Theater album of all time. Because I know we said Safam was my favorite. I woke up this morning and decided I was awake because of the god Kevin Moore. And also because of just the sheer diversity on here. I know people like to scream and bitch about The Silent Man and Lifting Shadows. Those to me just emphasize what a stellar album this is. It has something for, I think, everybody, whether it's your girlfriend, you want to show them this nice acoustic band you're into and then immediately just let it spill into the mirror, or you just want some heavy crazy stuff like The Mirror or Caught in a Web.
The thing that really makes this album as great as it is the amount of noodling is zero. It's structured. It's
that's because we're talking point. Kevin Moore here.
Objectively, Jordan is a better player, but in terms of creativity and songwriting and working with the band, what I've heard, Kevin Moore is just, he fits better because of the lack of nutting all over the second half. And that nonsense. Does anybody even like that?
Jordan does.
Besides Jordan?
I don't want to shit on Jordan too much because he's a nice guy. We talk to him. But Dr. Kevin Moore is kind of almost an inside joke itself because everyone says it. He's got soul. He's got feel. I heard someone say in the comments, 10 of Kevin's notes can say the same as 1,000 of Jordan's notes. I'm forgetting to say a lot of the shit that I wanted to because, not to brag, but we're going completely noteless today, completely unscripted because I got the track list memorized, I got my thoughts memorized, and I got a lot of shit to say, so buckle up. So, almost forgot about Pale Blue Dot. Anyway, Pale Blue Dot is a cool little project that I wanted to start just to see how far our little DT community reaches, and we got some amazing results. Awesome guys to interact with. If you want to be a part of it, all you have to do is leave a comment with where you're from and how you got into DT, and you will be on our next Dream Theater review. We're going to do maybe 1 or 2 more rounds, and then we're going to take a break for a little bit, and then maybe start it up sometime in the future. So definitely get them in now. Without further bovine excrement, 6 o'clock. Speaking of the god, Kevin Moore, he dropped the hardest diss track on their own fucking album. He dropped a Dream Theater diss track on a Dream Theater album. Who does that except for the god, Dr. Kevin Moore?
And it was the first song.
It was the first song,
like
too.
The
They're like, let's open up with this one. Petrucci had a nasty response on song 3, but maybe this guy can rap too. You never know. I mean, he went to Turkey and decided he was going to be a film score composer for Turkish comedy horror films. Then he decided he's going to be a psychologist in North Dakota. Next month, he's going to go work for SpaceX in, South Africa. He's Kevin Moore.
He's just trying to check off every box in life.
Or he's just a bipolar psychopath. It fucked John Petrucci up too. If you watch that Loudwire Fact or Fiction thing, you can hear him like slowly get more and more depressed, like he's listening to a Kevin Moore song.
He was my best friend growing up. It's like we literally did everything together. Our band became successful, which was the dream we both had. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna leave," and I just was like devastated. We've been in touch very little, and I haven't actually talked to him in a long, long time. So it was basically the end of that long-time childhood relationship.
Well, we were best friends growing up, and we did everything together, and then one day he just told me to go fuck myself, and I never heard from him again.
Yeah. I don't know if he's alive. Kevin's patch, like you were talking about, I don't know all the patches and the tones that you do, but it is very ear-catching.
Which is like some kind of mystery tone. When we did the Mirror cover, which you should go watch, and I bought the JD800 software synth, the same synth that he used for this album. This one and Erotomania are like the 2 tones I just can't wrap my head around.
And of course, John Myung. He almost has like the YYZ guitar bass tone.
That's a unison he does with Kevin. So that's that organ sound with John Myung, which is amazing.
The second half is such a masterpiece, like in and of itself, that it's like its own song.
Highlighted by Dr. Kevin Moore's insane solo. That is one of my favorite solos ever by any keyboard player, except for, of course, Dr. Kevin Moore on Scarred. I just love that wailing guitar patch. That's just not noted every time. Right. That's why I needed to buy that shit as soon as it comes out. This video is not sponsored by Roland, but maybe it should be. James Labrie, your favorite singer of all time, kicked ass, not just on this song, but this whole album.
Yes.
Watch through the door. Oh man! On Images and Words, he showed his range. He showed he can sing like crazy. This was like when Nirvana was popular. I think this is the same year that Kurt Cobain killed himself.
Yeah.
So he also added in that grungy grit to it, and still nailed every single note. I'd have to give this one an 8.
I give this one an 8.5.
Not even gonna look. Caught in a Web. Caught in a Web. Love this song. Love the 7-string riff.
Chocolate Cake.
Yeah.
Like buffet.
The grit, again, that he sings with. And I think the grit is the most present here.
Great work from Kevin, of course. Dr. Kevin. That's what I love the most about him is he knew where to put his pieces. Mike keeps like this earth-shaking beat going the whole song.
Especially at the end where they're going ee, or Kevin's going ee, and Mike's just going ape shit. This is like, if I had to pick bottom half, that's why this album's so ridiculously good, because a song like this is like bottom half. Still a fantastic song that I listen to endlessly. So I'd give this one a 7.5.
I give this one an 8.
Innocence Faded. Yes. This is another one that we're talking about, you know, if we have to pick bottom of the list, it would probably be this one. And that's funny. I said the most shit on the show. I have to censor that now. I say the weirdest shit on the show. Like in our first Dream Theater reaction video, I said that Connor Webb and this one were my two favorites. Now these are probably like, if I had to pick a least favorite, it would probably be these two. Regardless, a beautiful song, especially when they bring it down after the big opening. John hitting those open strings. Kevin adding in his bellish, voxy kind of sounds with his JD800, which I have that patch too, by the way, not to flex too much. My favorite part of the whole song, John's kind of arpeggiated clean section. So beautiful.
The opening riff from John, it's fantastic. I love it.
Gives me some Dave Murray, Adrian Smith kind of vibes too.
Mike just kind of like Neil Peart, like, you know, he keeps the beat, but he also has his own intricate parts thrown in that you might miss the first couple times.
Especially the intro, it's not even about the powerfulness or the softness. It's about the tasty stuff he adds in, the accents, the patterns, the fills that he adds in. Just he's like the master of patterns, which sounds like a really good album.
Which comes out after Chaos and Starvation.
Chaos and Starvation.
Second half sounded almost kind of like an 80s hair band altogether. Great song.
Probably the most I ever had to say about a 7.5.
Oh, I give it a 7.5 as well.
All right. Fun fact, this was going to be our cover before. Then I read past like the first page of the guitar and keyboard tabs. And then I said, maybe we should live to see the finished product. You want to talk about an insane performance from every single member of the band. Mm-hmm. Kevin, again, we talked about the tone in the beginning. I got to figure out that patch. There is a guy, his name is like Kiri Diram 78 or like some weird shit like that. I'm just going to call him Mr. Asian Keyboard Wizard. He figures out all the shit, and he was actually a huge help when I was figuring out the patches for the mirror. And I actually see one of our subscribers over there, Mr. Not a Homosexual. I've seen you over there. He must be a keyboard. I know he likes Awake too, so he's got good taste. The most nasty, dissonant stuff that just works so well because of that tone. Petrucci coming over the top with the chromatic scale. One of my favorite riffs to play on guitar ever. There's like 78 time signature changes in here. It's just the most incredible masterpiece of an instrumental I've ever heard. Probably my favorite instrumental from them.
All right. It's going to be tough not to say the exact same thing you just said. Dr. Kevin Moore knew tones and sounds that would just get people's attention. The chromatic scale it's a basic scale, but it's just so well put together. Like you said, which I agree, it's just like everybody brought their A game. It's like a bullet point. It's like musicianship, 10 out of 10. Structure, 10 out of 10. The length of the song, perfect. It's not too long, not too short. James Labrie, I mean, he's pretty good on it, but
that's like the biggest overused joke on Reddit. You can see people typing it out, and you're like, stop.
And I love the vocal. When you hear an instrumental from DT, you're like, either it's going to be like God whispering in your ear or just like alien invasion.
Well, remember, this is pre-Jordan.
Right, pre-Jordan. Yes. Man, I feel so bad talking shit about Jordan. He's such a cool guy.
Yeah.
And a great musician, but
a little too good of a musician.
A little too good.
Now, I'm a little worried. You've so far said nothing about the 3 godly solos. The first one, crazy shit. That was when I realized that it's time to move on to a different song. We're not covering this shit. Of course, the Silent Man solo, which is actually not as difficult as it sounds to play, but it's so beautiful. And then the last solo, it's just become a meme itself because it's just so insane and ridiculous. Probably if we're talking about top 5 Petrucci works overall, this song. If we're talking about top 5 Dream Theater works, period, of all time. At least top 10. I'd like to beat you to it, actually. 10 out of 10.
Damn it.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. It's been a while. The only real thing that scared me about playing the song is John Myung's bass solo outro.
Oh my god, yeah. The outro too. I almost forgot about the outro. Holy shit, that's almost the best part of the song. That outro, and then also the stuff Petrucci plays into it. It sounds like, you know, just someone hitting like a glass, you know, chamber with chimes.
He beat me to it. It's been a long time on the channel, but it deserves a 10.
The beautiful transition into Voices. Yes, undefeated so far. Voices is a song that really came out of nowhere for me because, again, we're talking about my bipolar disorder when it comes to Awake. This song was like nowhere near anywhere notable for me a month ago. I just all of a sudden had this huge Voices fetish. Haunting, insane intro that Dr. Kevin Moore adds so much to. This is the same patch that he used for the solo in 6 o'clock. Sounds like you're sitting in the middle of a fucking tornado.
Tornado of Prague.
Tornado of Souls, Megadeth.
Oh, man.
Yes. My point with that is the care that he puts into not just composition, but tone too, which is amazing because he wasn't even all the way in this album. He knew that he was going to leave right after he finished recording all of this part, so he wasn't even like present in the studio, and he cares enough to go and transform that patch into something as ridiculous as this.
Some of my favorite work from John Petrucci, all the multiple tracks at once, and Kevin with the eerie
Dr. Kevin
with the eerie keyboard patch. Absolutely love it. Kevin's work during the beginning soft section and mixed with James' vocals, structure is just excellent. I love the pacing of the song too. It goes from in your face, like kicking your teeth, into just mellow. And John's solo at the end, of course.
How about John's intro? And then Kevin takes it with the organ melody. Everyone's going, and Kevin's got the haunting, like ghostly patch over the top of it. And then the lyrics too. Petrucci is definitely hit or miss. Sometimes he knocks it out of the park, other times not so much. This song was awesome because it's about a total nut job, and it gives you free reign to just write a bunch of shitty lyrics that make no sense, but they totally make sense because it's about a nut job. James's performance, how the fuck do you hit those notes? One of James's best songs of his career, I think. This one and Scarred.
No, I'd have to agree. Not the biggest James fan, but in this song, I love
Shrimp, man.
Go back in time.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, like that meme. I actually didn't think about what I'd rate this one. I'm gonna go ahead and give this one an 8.5. What did I give Voices? 8.5 or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, never mind. That's a 9.
Give this one an 8. Silent Man.
I was gonna. This is a spoiler. Right. I was gonna get to that. Damn it. So the third part of Mind Beside Itself, probably the most underrated and the most hated. But the reason I love the song so much, it means a lot to me personally because this is the first chord progression I learned, like learning how to actually place chords. It's also a really interesting song subject too, about, you know, a man who has a troubled relationship with his father, but not because his father's a bad guy or something like that, because he just kind of idolizes his dad. He thinks his dad is the greatest ever, but he kind of, like, when he talks to him, he has a hard time putting together the right words.
It's a great meaning. I really like to see the acoustic work, and James' vocals fits in it really well.
Absolutely.
And it's well placed on the album. It's like the midsection where you're just like, your brain's rattling from everything going on, and then they just put this in. I see why some people would just be like, oh, this sucks, because it's not like...
Well, because they just want to hear, you know, they want to hear the Metallica formula.
Ooh, yeah!
Favorite part of the whole song, the nylon solo. One of my favorite solos from Petrucci, even though it's short, not on electric guitar. Just really, really tasteful, beautiful, beautiful song. Give this one an 8.
Give this one a 7.
Buckle up, because we got some shit to say. First 7-string song ever written by Petrucci, and, you know, it kind of sounds like it, you know. But what a fun song, what a well-written song. Yes, this is probably the most caveman friendly on the entire album, other than maybe Innocence Faded. They make, with their time signature changes, the same B chord over and over again sound like a whole symphony. And then, of course, Kevin, knowing his role, knowing, okay, we got this blank canvas here, everyone's just playing B over and over again. The strings, the massive organ that he puts in there that just swallows up the whole song.
John's intro, ripping the pick up the strings.
Oh yeah, the harmonic scrape, which now just every modern metal song needs to have like 50 million of them.
Yeah. Then you have the soft section, well put together, especially with Kevin.
Actually, that's Kevin is going the entire time. Yeah,
and it works so well. It's so simple. And John Myung's somewhat bass solo that you can't hear. But it's there. On this song, Mike is more in the background.
Except for when he just hammers you with that double bass during the wah solo. And the wah keyboard solo in unison. Crazy stuff toward the beginning. I just wish you could hear Kevin.
When I look at this song, though, to me, it's almost like a book with different chapters, like I was talking about, with each section put into place, and then the excellent outro.
I like how you're on the outro, and I'm like ready to talk about the first verse. The song song is so impressive and the vocal melody and all this stuff is such a brilliant distraction from how shitty these lyrics are. Still a cool meaning, still a cool precursor to the 12-step suite. But like you were talking about, I call it the clean guitar section where it pans to either side. But you want to talk about everyone putting on a kick-ass performance like in Erotomania? That's right here. Even James adding the chorus effect over the top of his vocals, which I think adds so much to it. Mike adds in some of the tastiest licks in there with the blocks, the high toms, the bass solo, like you said, that we uncovered once we found the multi-track. Holy shit. Does no one say anything like in the studio? It's like, oh, wait, this is like this insane bass solo. Do you think maybe we should hear this? No, I need quad-tracked guitar. It's the clean guitar section, too. It's not even like, he's following the heavy distortion guitar, too.
I honestly don't know why John Myung is so cool with it. I mean, he's the silent man.
He is the silent man. Best part of the song is the outro. I don't even know if I did it right with like the harmonics where he pulls up on the whammy bar and does this crazy stuff. I think it sounds close enough. You go watch it and then tell me. Roar into the holy shit.
Not to mention the transition into the...
And then the transition into Lie. Yeah, I know there's going to be more shit that I had to say about the song that I'll be kicking myself for later, but what are we, like 45 minutes in right now?
41.
So I think we'll leave it at that, and I think I'll leave it at 9.
8.
Wow, so it went down. What made it go down 1 point?
Compared to other stuff on the album and other works.
That's true, compared to other stuff.
But it's still great.
Yeah.
Especially ours.
Another one of my towards the bottom ones, which is funny because it borrows so many elements from The Mirror. But yeah, I don't know if it was just the music video. Oh, I don't know if you saw the music video for The Silent Man. It makes Time Stand Still by Rush look like a Christopher Nolan movie.
Wow.
Anyway, musically though, love the wah solo too. By the way, I forgot to talk about the wah solo. Damn, the voices kicks ass. Lyrics, again, corn fest, like a big cheese ball filled with corn.
Covered in Prague. James' opening verse, that evilish tone on his voice is perfect.
The reason I like this one is for the sheer energy and aggression that James delivers, that everyone else delivers. I give this one a 7.
7.5.
You fucking haters.
Why would you ever hate this song?
Even they were talking shit about it when they were in the studio. I think it's one of the most amazing, dreamy songs. They even named their biography after this song. The harmonic intro by John Myung. But John Myung is just a monster. The techniques that he applies. Yeah, exactly. The other thing, everyone's favorite part is Petrucci's work on this whole thing. Most of it is clean guitar. The effects and the delay that he put on there, so dreamy. Even though it kind of sounds like a 2004 flip phone ringtone.
John Myung's work in the beginning is just eerie, haunting, captures the essence of the song. And Mike, even though he's playing all the soft drums, it's still intricate. It's still interesting.
Oh yeah, and I specifically love about Mike the cymbal crash that he goes. Yeah. It's like waves coming and crashing onto the beach.
He knew exactly. And James's vocal performance, one of my favorites, especially in the second half with his harmonizing with his own vocals on the chorus.
Vocally, at least, very images and words like vocal performance, because there's not a lot of the grit and distortion that we know this album for. It's just a very beautiful performance. I'm gonna go 8.
I'm gonna go 8.5.
This fits pretty much everything you need to know about this era Dream Theater into one song. John putting the team on his back.
Especially the first 2 minutes for the intro, it's arranged really well. It's like got like that 1960s LA noir type thing, like a black and white movie of like a detective.
Very bluesy, and that's because of the single coil split that he used. I've never heard him on any other song use single coil with distortion other than this song, but it works so well with the swell guitar coming in, the transitions into the different parts. You'll skip 5 minutes into the song and it'll be like you're listening to a different song, but if you listen to the whole thing, you don't even notice them change the parts.
Kevin, always solid.
Oh, I love in the beginning Kevin with like kind of those bebop robot noises and the different layers too. He actually overdubbed a lot on this song.
I don't think it needed to be 10 minutes. I think
I think it needed to be 10 minutes. I think we could have done without the 80s fade out. That's the only complaint that I have about this song too. That James gets up there and the high note, maybe he'll leave me here to and James pauses at the perfect moments to really let it shine through. And then, of course, they bring it back down for the nice Can You Feel? Yeah. Dr. Kevin Moore's best solo of his career. One of the best solos. It's up there with 6 o'clock. And then the outro, too. Kevin switches over to the strings to really give it that shift in mood that we needed. So it has that aggression, but it has that dreaminess, too. Because, as we know, Kevin is the dream. in Dream Theater.
It's a good placement too, you know, second to last song on the album.
This was going to be the last song. That was the plan. And then Kevin's like, hey, I have this ballad that I'm going to do. Put it on there.
I'm glad.
Oh, okay, cool. You did that? Yeah, I'm out.
You going to Turkey?
Yeah.
Actually there.
One of my favorites on the album. I'm not going to declare a favorite because it's going to change like tomorrow. 9.5. What did I give Voices? 8.5 or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, never mind. That's a 9. See, they even changed before this video ends. They changed already.
That's the beauty of this album. 7.5.
Yet another song that I totally slept on for most of my life until now. The meaning, and of course, the pure emotion you can hear just from the music itself. Kevin flipping through a magazine after he just got his ass dumped, falling in love with these women that you see on the pages. And that really spoke to me because a modern equivalent of that you can say is someone scrolling through Instagram and seeing all these models or maybe some people that they saw out somewhere and falling in love with this character just based on looks, when in reality that person can be like completely insufferable, which most of the time unfortunately happens to be. Really, really powerful stuff.
One of my favorite vocal performances, like this is how you do the soft whispering vocals.
You're actually hearing both Kevin and James the entire time.
So it's Kevin and Kevin.
The double tracked Kevin.
Really captured the emotion he was feeling. It feels like I'm attending a funeral of Prague.
Prague never dies.
The harmonizing between the vocals and the melody, it's like almost like a whisper of like an angel. It's a great ending to the album, I think.
What do you think about his use of movie samples?
It was placed well, unlike, you know, like stuff Kanye does.
I think it adds a lot to it. The only issue I have is that they're totally random samples that make no fucking sense. One of them is a Conan O'Brien sample. He's talking about the weather in Houston or something like that. So I gotta give this one an 8.
I'm gonna say 7.5.
Overall, oh boy, that was long. What are we at now?
57.
57. All right, we're an hour into this. I don't think we've had anything longer than half an hour in like a year. As of right now, you know, year of our Lord 2021, December 28th. This is my favorite Dream Theater album. What makes this album special is not just the pacing, which I talked about at the beginning. The tone was incredible. The production, some of my favorites. I know the production is very polarizing on this one. The production just sounds like you're on the fucking moon. Also, you want to talk about albums that sound like the album it covers? That's this one right here.
Best Dream Theater album. I don't think it'll change. Maybe. I could be wrong.
Oh, I didn't even talk about Petrucci's tone. This guy quad-tracked everything, which was like the biggest nightmare ever. But it's worth it. I mean, holy shit. The roaring tone that he delivers. I love the pure boogie tone, which is what he has on every other Dream Theater album. But the rectifier over top, like he said, adds a nice, really creamy, high layer to it.
Especially with Kevin 1 foot out the door, putting this much effort and detail into these songs that he maybe didn't even give 2 shits about.
Kevin, we love you, Kevin.
Kevin! We love you, Kevin! Kevin, please!
I'd like to give this one, I think a unanimous, 10 out of 10. Am I correct?
I give it a 9 out of 10.
So this is not your favorite Dream Theater album?
Oh, it is.
But you gave Scenes at 10, sir?
I'm just kidding.
Okay, yeah, you got me worried there for a second.
10.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Kevin, please come back.
Come back.